Silver squeezing. Can we squeeze this silver and make it worth a little bit more than it was yesterday? The short answer is I think sadly it's a no. We can certainly buy loads and loads more silver and push premiums up, and yes, spot price might go up even a little bit more. But the idea that we collectively as a stacking community or as a buying power can manipulate silver into the moonshot scenario that a lot of people want and pray for, I think is unfortunately a little bit of a fallacy. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for this week's Precious Metal Rambling, which is going to be all about the physical silver squeeze. Can we squeeze this stuff and make spot price go up, or at least stick it to those corporations and bankers that trade in paper silver? So for those that don't know, silver squeezing is a movement that was born out of the Wall Street bets era a couple of months ago, whereby buy as much silver as possible. That's pretty much the mantra of it. Buy enough physical silver as possible, squeeze the market, squeeze the supply, and the price will go up and everybody will be happy. And if we get what we want, it might go all the way to the moon and everybody will be millionaires. I've heard that so many times before, that silver is going to make us very rich, and then, we're 3 months in and we are precisely nowhere with the silver squeeze. Now, I don't mean to be completely disparaging about silver and about the ownership of silver. One of the brilliant things, and I can't stress how awesome this is to see, is that new silver buyers have appeared. New silver buyers have got into buying precious metals, and that is a fantastic thing for anybody out there who is new to silver. You'll understand the true wealth of it, and I have always been a proponent of the ownership of physical silver as an incredibly good thing. I mean, be hypocritical of me to sit here and say don't buy silver when I have close to 350 ounces worth of silver out on the table here. It's very much, in my mind though, something that should be a diverse part of a greater portfolio. And the problem that I feel like I have with things like the silver squeeze movement is the potential hype train that is out there. And I have seen an awful lot of hype about this from a great many sources, notwithstanding the biased sources which have a vested interest in making you put all of your money in physical silver through their dealer website or through their affiliate code links in description boxes, or there are a lot of very difficult and different issues to consider with this movement. And for me, physical ownership of silver is an incredibly cool and great thing and a good decision for people to make, but do so responsibly. Now, I want to share a little bit of my own experiences as a person who buys a great deal of silver to melt into products to sell. Silver is part of my business. The supply of it is, of course, really important and critical to everything that I do and I make. And when I was looking at the beginning of the year for, obviously, my supply going forwards, and this whole sort of silver squeeze movement, and premiums just started going through the roof from dealers for your bog standard bullion pieces of silver, it was one of these situations where I was like, well, that's ultimately going to be passed on to my consumers, to my customers at the other end, when I look to buy my raw materials. But then I got in touch with a few of my trusted dealers, people that I've used before, both in the UK and internationally, I should add. And I got a number of different quotes from a varying amount of sources. And actually, to be honest, it's not that hard to get hold of silver. We've seen in this movement that's happened over this last couple of months, a great deal of dealers saying that they are, I can't pick this one up, saying that they are so stocked out, or their stock is so low that they can't supply quickly. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks wait. But that's not what I've experienced from a couple of different sources. Yes, some of them, it's a 2-week wait for silver, but they're still able to supply it. They're still able to supply it at a really very decent price and premium as well. Certainly in its raw form, in these kind of big 100-ounce bar type pieces, you can get silver for a pretty decent price. And all things considered, in the UK right now, even with VAT applied on items like that, you can still get silver at a pretty decent price, considering we're in a world where American Silver Eagles might sell for $40, $50 an ounce, or Silver Britannias might go for £27, £28 an ounce. You can most certainly still buy silver cheaper than that. And it is, I think, a really interesting kind of concept to think that a small collective minority, and I'm going to say the word minority because ultimately in the grand scheme of the global economy that is silver, or the global market, I should say, that is silver, even if we get a couple of 100,000 people in a Wall Street silver Reddit group together buying silver, it's not going to make a big difference. It's not going to make hardly any difference at all, if I'm being brutally honest. What is good is people are going in there and they're buying silver, and that is great for them. They are going to be owning some real wealth for a change rather than just having money in a bank account. However, as I have been harping on for the last 5 and a bit years now, we're closing in actually on year 6 for me here on YouTube, there are a great many issues with people who are buying silver beyond their means. So we see, or I have certainly seen, quite a lot of people, like with the GameStop and Wall Street Bets side of things, thinking that this movement is going to cause some real significant ripples within the market, and it's going to make silver very valuable, and they're going to get a good return on their investment. Sadly, that is not always the case, and part of the issue is that because we collectively buying all this silver have driven up premiums on it. When you buy your silver from various places that are easily findable through Google, and you don't necessarily do a bit of sort of searching around for the best prices, you're going to be paying over the odds for quite a lot of silver. And I see it time and time again that people will post their pictures of their new silver and they'll be all very happy, and then you actually then find that quite a lot of people will often then post a little thing afterwards going, was it a good buy? Is it a good price at this point? And a lot of people will just jump in and say any silver right now at any price is a great deal to have. And I would somewhat tend to agree in a certain way, because I do feel like silver is undervalued. And whilst I'm not a proponent of silver squeezing and any short-term movement that we might be able to make in the markets, I do feel like it's still undervalued. And for the long term, I do think it's going to be something that is very much possible to gain a significant bit of value on, or at least at very worst have some hedge and inflationary style protection. And ultimately as well, this is part of the sort of hypocrisy of the the silver squeezing movement. We want to squeeze silver into oblivion, squeeze it to the moon, make us finally achieve some of the returns that we've got on our silver that we're perhaps holding or have been holding for a long time. A lot of this is actually a bit of a fallacy, because if you move silver up to $100 an ounce or $1,000 an ounce, it will mean that other items within the economy, other commodities within the economy will have to follow, which drives down the value of dollars, pounds and pence and euros and yen and whatever it is. It is not actually as simple as you think. And when a loaf of bread costs you $200, your $1,000 an ounce silver doesn't necessarily feel quite as good as it once might have done. So that's my kind of mentality. I think silver is a fantastic thing to own as an inflationary hedge, but as a Wall Street bets thing for us to all make some money on, no, it's not. Now, one of the things that I will say is, if you have been buying a load of silver recently, if you're brand new to silver and you're buying it, I'm very much a proponent of holding your silver for as long as you can. In my opinion, I think that is the only way that you can look to make any kind of decent returns on it, certainly in its kind of raw form. There are, of course, collectible markets for various different coins, bars, poured pieces and all of that, but in terms of bullion, I've got 4 bars here which are very much sitting in that bullion category. These are stuff which, sadly for a lot of you, might like this, but they're ultimately going to be chopped up and put in my melting pot. They are pieces of metal. They are nothing more than that. Whereas a lot of the coins out there can and often are used as kind of collectible items that can garner additional premiums. Now, in terms of premiums, what we have seen in this last couple of months of silver squeezing is premiums continuing to hold high, and in some cases go up even higher. But I do think that those premiums will be coming down as and when supply chains start opening up a little bit more. And I have experience in my own, business, my pouring silver business, and you can see all these little 1 ounce bars. And if if anybody is interested, we'll be showing a video on Sunday showing all 250, there we go, of these bars. So we've got them, they're done, the Silver Forum bars. More information on that coming out on Sunday. But my point is that as a purveyor of silver, that box is about to break, let's do that very carefully. As a purveyor of silver, as somebody who sells silver as a commercial sort of entity, I can almost categorically say to you that it is still possible to supply silver or to source silver for supply. It's not necessarily going to be breaking the bank. Indeed, on the second-hand market, I can find silver that is absurdly cheaper than it can be from dealers. A prime example is this Baird & Co 100-ounce bar that I recently bought off the Silver Forum, which is going to go in the melting pot at some point, I'm afraid to say. It was a very, very good price on the Silver Forum, second-hand, certainly cheaper than any dealer out there. Easily done. And, you know, if you are really keen on this silver squeeze movement, just buying silver from a random person on Reddit or YouTube or Instagram or wherever it might be, Facebook, that's not going to squeeze the market. You're just squeezing each other. So you're basically handing cash to another private individual. And that's ultimately what happens when you buy from a dealer as well. You are supplying the dealer with the means to continue on as a business. You're not squeezing the mine. If you were going to a refinery and buying 1,000 kilos of the stuff, you might put a little bit of pressure on that refinery to fulfill some of its contracts with other suppliers. Yeah, that might be a potential thing. But as a collective group, we're not all going to be able to go to a refinery and do that. A lot of refineries won't even touch small individual buyers. You have to have a minimum of a certain amount to even be considered for business with them. So my point here is that, again, with the silver squeezing movement, it is great to be able to have a load of brand new silver buyers on the market, people who are coming in fresh to silver with these all these wonderful ideas and aspersions about what they can achieve with it. And that's fantastic. And I love that there are a bunch new silver owners out there. But if you are doing it because you think you are going to make a boatload of cash when silver goes up because everybody else is buying it, understand that at the moment the only people that are making boatloads of money are the dealers. Really, they are. And the mints as well. The mints, who will most likely have still contracts for supply with their raw suppliers, the mines, the refineries, whoever it might be that brings in that raw material to the mints, don't have any dispersions that those prices that they're getting are still pretty low compared with the premiums that are on things like American Eagles and the like. Mints are there to maximize profits for their own goals, and that is ultimately what they do. And the same can be said for dealers. It is very much about what price I think dealers can get for certain things, and ultimately the supply chain stops with the consumer, and we're all the ones that pay for these price increases, so to speak. So can we squeeze the market? Is this still a thing that can happen? In my opinion, no. I do think that there's a lot of hype out there about this. I think, though, that it is a good thing for the the awareness of ownership of silver to be going up. Don't have a problem with that at all, and I would highly encourage people to continue to look at silver as a diversification tool of an investment. But buying it specifically because you think that you can have an effect on the greater market, is in my opinion a bit of a fallacy. It really is. It's not something that is going to actually. There is no way that a market this size can be manipulated by small purchasers, especially in its smallest form. And whilst it's great for everybody who can to go and buy silver, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I know I don't want to be too negative on it, but just stay safe out there, because there's a lot of FOMO, there's a lot of fear of missing out, there is a lot of hype. You see a lot of very biased articles and YouTube videos from big corporations, big dealers, big refineries, big mints out there, and people with a vested interest, people who've got very, very large amounts of silver. And we're not talking about people like myself who'd make a video showing 300 ounces of silver. We're talking about, the big hedgies who've got millions of ounces of silver. And yeah, it's in their interest for you to go out and push that silver price up as much as possible. So they will be trying to get you to do that. And it could happen. I want to finish this video by saying, as negative as I have been all this video about the potential for silver to go up and up and up, and for us to squeeze the market, there is also, in my opinion, a small chance that could play a factor into things, but I just can't necessarily see it in this short term. There's the biggest concern I have about it, and this is where I'll finish my video. I know I've been going on for a while, but my biggest concern is that we can squeeze as much as we like right now, but ultimately, economies around the world are going to start opening up again. They're going to start trading in their full capacity once again, like we had before COVID. When that will happen, we don't exactly know, but that is going to be a time when economies will boom and markets will boom for various different things, and money that has been put into silver will come out of silver in the big, the big hedge funds, the big manipulators of the market. I know a lot of you like to think, maybe rightly so, that a lot of the markets out there for silver are completely manipulated. But the point is that at some point, money will start flowing away from silver, and so any gains that might be had on silver will probably erode back down. I do think, though, we are at a kind of stable norm right now. I don't think we're going to go back down to the sub $20 an ounce mark, or even the sub sort of £15 an ounce mark for us here in the United Kingdom. I think we're at a new sort of norm, as it were, for silver. And I do think for the foreseeable future, over the next couple of years even, there will be premium issues with relating to supply. There will be dealers still charging higher premiums for coins. But, as I've said at the start of the video, from my experience, from a number of sources, the supply of raw material in bulk is actually not very difficult at all. It's quite quick turnaround. We're talking, I had an inquiry the other day for 15 kilos of silver, and the 3 suppliers that I contacted to see whether or not it was possible all said, yeah, no problem. The longest wait was 2 weeks. The shortest wait was about a week and a half. We're talking pretty quick turnarounds, decent prices, decent premiums. Is it the cheapest silver I've ever bought? No. Is it the most expensive? No. So it's kind of business as usual for me, basically. That's my observations. So anyway, silver squeezing. Do it at your own peril, I think, is the message that I will lead here. Certainly one of the best things you can do is just pick up any silver that you have and squeeze it for your own pleasure. That is the only silver squeezing I will be doing. Otherwise, it's business as usual for both my poured silver business and also my silver stacking and investing. I'd love to know your thoughts, though. That's one of the reasons why I make these videos. So please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section, and I'll see you down there for a fun and healthy debate. If you're just going to be an obtuse troll and call me an idiot or a CIA psyop or a shill, then please feel free to do so. But let me tell you, it will be a one-way ticket to Banville. Trolls just don't have time on this channel. So fun, healthy adult debates down in the comment section. See you down there. Otherwise, if you have enjoyed this video, put a thumbs up on it. And if you're not subscribed and you have enjoyed this video, there's a very good chance that you'll enjoy subsequent videos that we make. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, if you want to find out more about the very large amount of 1 ounce bars that we've got ready to go, then a video out on Sunday. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend ahead. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.